Hundreds of Ukrainians arrive in this refugee camp every day. They have a tourist visa for Mexico. For them, it's just a stopover. The final destination is the United States, where friends or family are waiting. Around 700 Ukrainians have been sheltering here for days. The organizers are struggling with the growing number of refugees. The volunteers, most of them from the US with Ukrainian and Russian backgrounds, are scrambling.
We need more people who can help us to feed them, to give them hosting, to make sure that system, they have all numbers, that the line is going. We're giving them a ride wherever they need.
On average, people here have to wait for just about 4 to 5 days before they manage to set foot into the United States. Tatiana is from Kharkiv. Her stepson Vladimir has been living for over a decade in Florida. He picked her up from Mexico City 4 days ago to take her home.
I stayed home. My husband had to leave to defend the city of Odessa. I just want to be together with him again. That's all.
People here are struggling in many ways, even if they are far from the war.
We don't have any tears left. We're empty now. In the beginning, we cried a lot. Now we have no tears. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. At the beginning, we were in Mariupol. We were busy thinking about what to do, how to stay safe. Are we going to die? Are we going to get shot? Should we stay in the basement or go upstairs? And finally, we left. And now we ask ourselves, what happened? Why?
The refugee camp is not far from the border to the United States, where the increase of military presence on the Mexican side is visible these days. A total of 2,500 Ukrainians are waiting in the city of Tijuana to get to the other side, motivated by the promise of President Biden to give asylum to 100,000 refugees from Ukraine. It started with a small group of 20 to 30 people who were processed in 4 hours and who would enter into the U.S. the same day. Enrique Lucero Vázquez, who is in charge of the Migrant Attention Center for the city of Tijuana, lets us know that this changed when hundreds of Ukrainians arrived to the city a week ago.
Esto se va a normalizar unas 2 o 3 semanas porque ya se incrementó las atenciones por parte de autoridades migratorias de Estados Unidos, se reforzó, ya vinieron más agentes y por día están recibiendo 576 ucranianos. A partir de hoy estarán ingresando diario a Estados Unidos.
People here left everything behind. They're exhausted and they're also traumatized. They're trying to process what happened. But hope might be around the corner.
Today is the day for these Ukrainian families. They waited and are eager to leave the past behind as best as possible, they say. And they hope for a new start in the United States. This bus, provided by the city of Tijuana, will bring them to the border. A 5-minute ride that may change their fate away from war. The border crossing El Chaparral in San Isidro was closed for more than 2 years. Now the United States and Mexico reopened it exclusively for the Ukrainian refugees. But they are certain that this is just a temporary situation. They are determined to return home as soon as possible. Only 1 kilometer away, the situation is quite different. Long waiting lines and always congested traffic at one of the world's busiest land border crossings, the entry port of San Isidro. But most of these people are not fleeing. They cross daily the border for work. Tijuana is a bottleneck for many immigrants who seek refuge in the United States. The city has over 25 centers that shelters migrants from different origins, but the great majority are from Mexico and Central America. Like the center Pro Amore Dei that was created 6 years ago. It now shelters 250 refugees. 150 of them are kids. Mark Lane crosses over from San Diego twice a week. He has been supporting the refugee center for many years. Today is his birthday.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
His organization, Minority Humanitarian Foundation, brings food, medicine, and diapers to the shelter. They also provide law and medical services to the refugees in need who are waiting in Mexico for many years, hoping to get political asylum in the U.S.
You know, they're not super happy that all of a sudden there's another refugee who's a different color than them, who all of a sudden are being fast-tracked. You know, they're being let through. Title 42 is not being applied to them. Their process is taking just a couple of hours, whereas these guys have been sitting, you know, for 3 to 4 years waiting, you know, in squalid conditions. You know, the Ukrainian refugees are not the enemy. The way they're being treated is how all of them should be. That just shows that we can do it.
Anna doesn't want to be identified. She's being persecuted by the criminal gangs in Guerrero.
Me mataron a mi hijo y a mi esposo, los encontramos en bolsas negras, despedazados y pues muy feo eso que estoy viviendo. De verdad yo quisiera que me ayudaran a salir de aquí del país, porque pues igual me andan buscando a mis hijos y a mí, que me van a hacer lo mismo que le hicieron a ellos.
For a long time, she has been moving with her kids from shelter to shelter, fearing for their lives. In the previous refugee camp, they coexisted with Ukrainian refugees. Their kids played together, they shared blankets and food, they tell us.
Ucrania está en guerra, pero también aquí en México hay una guerra. Se pueden ir a Michoacán, a Guerrero, a Sinaloa, Guanajuato, Guadalajara, Tamaulipas. O sea, México es un país que está muy feo, pero no lo sacan todo en televisión.
Regardless of what passport they carry, fear for their lives is what they have in common. But also hope to get to the other side and live in peace.